Let's begin the second part of our stem and leaf lesson. Look at your paper. There are 4 sections and we'll go over all 4 together. Number 1. Each student in Mrs. McGee's class receives an allowance from home every week. The results are recorded on the stem and leaf plot below. Before we can interpret those numbers, we need to first examine the key. According to the key, 1 line 2 stands for 12. Now I know how to go back and make sense of these numbers. For the first row, the stem is 0, and the leaf is 4, 5, 8, and 8. So I can interpret them as 04, 05, 08, and 08. The second row, the stem is 1, and I'll write these numbers down, 10, 12, 12, 17, and 19. The bottom row has a stem of 2 and a leaf of 0. Now I'll go back just for clarity and cross off the zeros. The numbers are actually 4, 5, 8, and 8. The directions say which line plot represents the same data as the stem and leaf plot. Well, let me first write down the numbers represented by each one. Let's start with A. I have the number 4, 6, I have 2 8s, 10, 2 12s, and over here between the 16 and the 18, that's 17, then 18 and 20. Let me compare these to those from the stem and leaf plot. The numbers are similar. I have a 4, I have 2 8s, but they're not exactly the same. I don't have a 5 in the line plot, so I'm going to go on to B. We've got a 4, and the X between the 4 and 6 represents 5. Then we've got 2 8s, 10, 2 12s. Then we have another 17. It's the X between the 16 and the 18. Then we have a 19 between the 18 and the 20, and we have a 20. When I compared these numbers to those from my stem and leaf plot, I realized they're all the same. So I can go ahead and mark B as my answer. Now for number 2. It says to order the numbers from least to greatest. So I'm going to go through and start in order and cross them out as I go. I see the smallest number is 13, and I have 2. And I've got 2 14s, so I'm going to go ahead and write 13, 13, 14, 14. And then I'll just continue on like this, crossing them out as I go. And at the end, I'll check over it and make sure I didn't miss any numbers. Now that I'm finished, I'll just carefully take a look at all of my numbers and all of the ones that are listed above just to make sure there's nothing up there that I've missed. Now for the fun part. The directions say to record those numbers down in the stem and leaf plot below. So I get to make it myself. The first thing I need to do is plan out how many rows I'll need. So I'm going to go through and see how many 10s I have. I've got 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. Given that, I'm going to have 5 rows in my stem. I'm going to go ahead and write down all my stems. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Before I go on to the next step, let me go ahead and fill out the key. I'll just pick a random number at the top and I'll use that for my key. 21 looks good. So 2 line 1 stands for 21. Now it's time to start the leaves. I'll go with my first stem of 1 and I'll write the leaves that go along with that. I have 2 13s, so I'll write 2 3s, 2 14s, so then I'll write 2 4s, and then I have a 15, so I'll write a 5. So that gives me, for my first row, 13, 13, 14, 14, and 15. Let's go on to do the second row together, and then the next 3 rows I'll have you do on your own. The second row starts with the stem of 2, so I'll look at all my 20s. 21, 22, 26, and 26. So I'll write that as a 1 for 21, a 2 for 22, and 2 6s for the 26s. When the video lesson is done, I want you to go ahead and go back and finish number 2. You'll do the rows that start with the 3, the 4, and the 5. Number 3 is a little different, and you'll see why in the key. Let's look carefully in the numbers. I'll go over those with you, and then I'll let you pick the answer yourself. If you look at the key, look carefully. 3 line 4 doesn't stand for 34 this time. It stands for 3.4, 3 4/10. This is a decimal this time. So when we go back to interpret the numbers in the stem and leaf plot, we need to think of them as decimals rather than tens. So the first row with a stem of 2 and leaves of 1, 5, and 5, that's not 21, 25, and 25. Instead, it's 2.1, 2.5, and 2.5. We'll go through and write down all of these numbers together, and when I'm finished, you go ahead and you choose the answer on your own. The next stem is 3. Remember, this isn't a 30, this is a 3-point. So I'll go through and write the numbers, 3.0 or 3, another 3.0, 3.1, and 3.7. Why don't you take a few moments and do the last row yourself? I'll wait patiently while you do, and when you're finished, I'll do them together and you can match your answers with mine and see how you did. Did you get 4.5, 4.8, and 4.8? If you did, excellent. If not, that's okay too. The best way to learn is to make guesses, and even making mistakes is better than just copying and memorizing. So congratulations to you regardless. I'll leave it to you to find the answer to number 3. You can do that now, or you can do it after the video is over and take your time. Whichever you prefer. On to number 4. We'll start number 4 together, and then you'll finish it on your own. First and foremost, we need to look at the key so we can interpret the stem and leaf plot. According to the key, to line 5 is 25. Now that I know what the stem and leaf mean, I can go ahead and start listing the numbers. Let's do the first row together. The stem of 1 means 10. So the stem of 1, leaf of 0 is 10. The stem of 1, leaf of 3 is 13. Now you're on your own. You can finish the stem of 1 and then go on and do all the numbers in stem 2 and 5. Don't forget the parts of the assignment you still need to do. We finished number 1 together. Number 2, you still have some more numbers to write in your stem and leaf plot. Number 3, you need to choose the answer on the bottom. And number 4, you need to finish writing all of the numbers on the line.